we're going to be looking at marriage in Islam and in Dajjal's modern godless world. Some people are going to be offended right away that we describe the modern world as Dajjal's modern world. But we came to that conclusion based on our study of a subject that you all know, ilmu akhir zaman, or otherwise known as Islamic eschatology. Based on our study of ilmu akhir zaman, we have come to the conclusion that Dajjal is the mastermind who has brought this modern age into existence. Those who wish to differ with us have the freedom to do that. And our purpose is to compare what Islam has to say on the subject of marriage with what Dajjal has been saying and shouting from the mountaintops, from CNN and Al Jazeera and all the rest, the New York Times and newspapers and radio and television. What do they have to say on marriage? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks in Surah An-Nahl of the Quran, the surah entitled the Bee, surah number 16, and He says, and we have sent down the book, the Quran, sent it down on thee, O Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that this Quran might explain all things. So when we want to know what is the reality, the hakika of this modern age, we don't go to the United Nations for the answer, do we? No. We don't go to the New Straits Times for the answer, do we? Huh? When we want to know what is the reality of the world in which we live today, this strange world, it is to the Quran that we must go. This is our answer. If we are wrong, then come forward and say so, and then tell us what is the right answer. Having given you that introduction, I can now speak with a certain amount of surety and confidence that Dajjal controls the modern age. And so when we present the subject of marriage in Islam, we're not doing so in a vacuum. We have to present the subject of marriage in Islam in the context of the rival view of marriage, which is coming from Dajjal's godless modern age. There are those who are going to be very uncomfortable with this lecture, but you and I are not going to be uncomfortable, because we are on the camp of Islam and they are in the camp of Dajjal. Allah speaks in the ayah quoted by Haji Ibrahim, which is the first ayah in Surah An-Nisa. in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمُ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. Fear your Rabb, who created you from a single nafs. وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. And from that single nafs, He created its mate, its spouse. وَبَثَّ مِنْهُمَا. And from these two, the male and the female. I don't think there is any way other than this to understand it. The male and the female. وَبَثَّ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَنِسَاءً. So Allah has introduced us to marriage, that the male and the female come together, and from the coming together of the male and the female, you have something, I don't know the Bahasa word in English, procreation. Children are born from the male and the female. And so marriage in Islam is marriage between the male and the female. And the primary purpose of the marriage, as described in this ayah, is for children to be born, and that mankind could therefore survive and grow. This is under attack today. Dajjal says no. Dajjal is contesting this view of the Quran. And Dajjal uses every trick in the book, including the IMF, including the World Bank, including the United Nations resolutions, to say no, that marriage does not have to be between a male and a female. And so the modern godless age says that marriage can be between a man and another man, and between a woman and another woman. Every single government in the world will eventually have to submit, as they have submitted all of them, and very quickly, with the passage of anti-terrorism legislation. We order it, you have to do it. And so every government in the world will eventually have to enact legislation to permit the marriage of a man with a man. And so we begin by warning this audience that from the time you hear a voice in your midst speaking out and defending the marriage of a man with another man, you must know that you are under attack from Dajjal. You can defeat him in arguments, yes, that's what we're going to be doing tonight. But he will eventually win the world. And you will have to protect your faith. The Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that people will have to flee from Dajjal. Flee from Dajjal. He said about the fitna of Dajjal. And fitna is a test, a trial. That it would be the greatest fitna that mankind will experience from the time of Adam alayhi salam.